Happiness has been a human pursuit for as long as we can remember. Whether on a global or an individual level, the pursuit of happiness is one that is gaining traction and scientific recognition. Take a moment to think of a time when you were happy. Were you alone, with others, inside, outside? Pleasure, comfort, gratitude, hope, and inspiration are examples of positive emotions that increase our happiness and move us to flourish. Factors that affect our happiness include personality traits, positive emotions versus negative emotions, attitude towards physical health, social class and wealth, attachment and relatedness, goals and self-efficacy. Time and place. Let's take a look at the science of happiness. Recent studies have shown us that money can only buy happiness up to about $75,000. After that, it has no significant effect on our emotional well-being. Most of our happiness is not determined by our genetics, but by our experiences and our day-to-day lives. Trying too hard to find happiness often has the opposite effect and can lead us to be overly selfish. Pursuing happiness through social means, for example, spending more time with family and friends, is more likely to be effective than other methods. The pursuit of happiness is one place where we should consider ditching the SMART goals. It may be more effective to pursue vague happiness goals than more specific ones. Happiness makes us better citizens. It is a good predictor of civic engagement in the transition to adulthood. Happiness leads to career success, and it doesn't have to be natural happiness. Researchers found that experimentally enhancing positive emotions also contributed to improved outcomes at work. There is a linear relationship between religious involvement and happiness. Higher worship service attendance is correlated with more commitment to faith, and commitment to faith is related to greater compassion. Those more compassionate individuals are more likely to provide emotional support to others, and those who provide emotional support to others are more likely to be happy. It's a long road, but a direct one. How about happiness at work? Although the jury is still out on exactly how happy employees should be for maximum productivity, efficiency, and health, we have learned a few things about the effects of a happy workforce. People who are happy with their jobs are less likely to leave their jobs, less likely to be absent, and less likely to engage in counterproductive behaviors at work. People who are happy with their jobs are more likely to engage in behavior that contributes to a happy and productive organization, more likely to be physically healthy, and more likely to be mentally healthy. Happiness and job performance are related, and the relationship likely works in both directions. For example, happy people do a better job, and people who do a good job are more likely to be happy. Unit or team-level happiness is also linked to positive outcomes, including higher customer satisfaction, profit, productivity, employee turnover, and a safer work environment. In general, a happier organization is a more productive and successful organization. Here are a few of the most interesting facts and findings so far. Happiness is linked to lower heart rate and blood pressure, as well as healthier heart rate variability. Happiness can also act as a barrier between you and germs. Happier people are less likely to get sick. People who are happier enjoy greater protection against stress and release less of the stress hormone cortisol. Happy people tend to experience fewer aches and pains, including dizziness, muscle strain, and heartburn. Happiness acts as a protective factor against disease and disability, in general, of course. Those who are happiest tend to live significantly longer than those who are not. Happiness boosts our immune system, which can help us fight and fend off the common cold. Happy people tend to make others happier as well, and vice versa. Those who do good feel good. A portion of our happiness is determined by our genetics, but there's still plenty of room for attitude adjustments and happiness-boosting exercises. Smelling floral scents like roses can make us happier. Those who are paid by the hour may be happier than those on salary. However, these findings are limited, so take them with a grain of salt. Relationships are much more conducive to a happy life than money. Happier people tend to wear bright colors. It's not certain which way the relationship works, but it can't hurt to throw on some brighter hues once in a while, just in case. Happiness can help people cope with arthritis and chronic pain better. Being outdoors, especially near the water, can make us happier. The holidays can be a stressful time, even for the happiest among us. An estimated 44% of women and 31% of men get the holiday blues. Happiness is contagious. When we spend time around happy people, we're likely to get a boost of happiness as well. Measures of happiness. At this point, you might be wondering, is it possible to measure happiness? Many psychologists have devoted their careers to answering this question, and in short, the answer is yes. Happiness can be measured by these three factors: the presence of positive emotions, the absence of negative emotions, and life satisfaction. How to train your brain for happiness. At birth, our genetics provide us a set point that accounts for some portion of our happiness. Having enough food, shelter, and safety account for another portion. By training our brain through awareness and exercises to think in a happier, more optimistic, and more resilient way, we can effectively train our brains for happiness. What are the patterns we need to train out of our brains? Perfectionism, often confused with conscientiousness, which involves appropriate and tangible expectations. Perfectionism involves inappropriate levels of expectations and intangible goals. It often produces problems for adults, adolescents, and children. Social comparison. When we compare ourselves to others, we often find ourselves lacking. Healthy social comparison is about finding what you admire in others and learning to strive for those qualities. However, the best comparisons we can make are with ourselves. How are you better than you were in the past? How are you better than? Materialism, attaching our happiness to external things and material wealth is dangerous, as we can lose our happiness if our material circumstances change. Maximizing maximizers search for better options even when they are satisfied. This leaves them little time to be present for the good moments in their lives and with very little gratitude. Misconceptions about mind training. We are products of our genetics, so we cannot create change in our brains. Brain training is brainwashing.
There's not even any service. Just let us be happy for a minute.
If we are too happy, we run the risk of becoming overly optimistic. How is the brain wired for happiness? Our brains come already designed for happiness. We have caregiving systems in place for eye contact, touch, and vocalizations to let others know we are trustworthy and secure. Our brains also regulate chemicals like oxytocin. People who have more oxytocin trust more readily, have increased tendencies towards monogamy, and exhibit more caregiving behavior. These behaviors reduce stress, which lowers production of hormones like cortisol and inhibits the cardiovascular response to stress. If happiness has little to do with having too many resources, then it is an inner state that we have the power to cultivate. In a world where the focus on happiness is growing and the mirror is turning back towards ourselves, the happiness of the world relies on the happiness within each one of us and how we act, share, and voice the importance of happiness for everyone.